tell my friends stand by me only if I'm right. I come out of triple darkness just to see the light. If I say it once, I guarantee I say it twice. If they want me, I ain't going out without a fight. In my dreams, I'm a killer, but for God, man. Try to play it cool, but it's getting hard, man. Rolling with the real and death to all the frauds, man. Not too many of me, yeah, it's kinda hard, man. In my room, sitting in my room. Know they waiting on me and I'm coming soon. Never been a sellout, never been a coon. Y'all be on the camera.
Poppy.
Yeah. Yeah, you better believe I got a sweet tooth, but ain't nothing sweet. I know you spend all your money to treat. I'm about to spend this little money on trees. Was on a diet, but I gotta cheat. Jumped off the porch, now I'm on Second Street. Tamika, my twin, she rolling that dough, and I think about counting that dough in my sleep. What's up, TJ? Before y'all run, I don't wanna be late. I need a little something, I hit this way, and I need it now, I don't need a delay. Peanut butter like my snack, like my woman. Denzel Washington, I'm leaving with sun. Chocolate chip, baby, you know how I'm coming. Banana pudding, no, we got it jumping, yeah. Yeah, I got butterific, I'm feeling terrific. Serving them cookies is not just a gimmick. They pulling them now cause they love to mimic, yeah. I need a pack, I need a sack, I need a stack, I need a rack. Man, I need everything in a bag down.
You better believe it.
Ay, butterific, yeah, butterific, shit, butterific.
Welcome to the B2N podcast, a group of 5 friends, brothers, cousins, family, known each other over 40 years. We talk about business, parenting, relationships, community, what's happening in the world. Today, we're talking about protecting the community starts at home. Always start inside the house. We often blame the streets for ruining our youth, but aren't the streets just winning the battle that some of the households are losing? How do we take the power back and provide a safe haven for our home that will permeate out into the community as well?
By basically by practice, by doing it. It's been on my mind recently of unity, the whole piece of unity of us as a people, right? And uniting. And I was like, yo, if we can't even unite within our household, how is it that we can expect to unite as a whole people? You know what I mean? So it really has to start right there in the house, as everything else does. You know what I mean? You know, the first effort to get us to unify as a people should be with family, in the house, in the immediate family. You know, whatever, with family. Anything that has us at odds or difference, try to reconcile that thing and make it right. And then it's a lot. I believe it can be achieved overall as a people. But that, I mean, and I know that's not exactly necessarily the subject matter, but that has me think in that same vein as to where it begins is just by example and practice at home.
That's the base, because it's probably, you're not going to be chaotic at home and be a great leader outside the home. It's probably not going to happen. Maybe it can. What you talked about was providing a safe haven, right? Right. What's one practical thing that you can do to make sure that your house is a safe haven? And that could be for you and the other kids, your neighbors in the community, extended family, etc.
You going to J-Move?
Anybody?
He was in. Yeah, it was just everyone.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
So what's one practical thing that you can do to make sure that your house is a safe haven, a sanctuary, not a war zone for your family, as well as the neighborhood?
I'll take a stab at it. I was just thinking about, of course, my household, let's just talk in general, the difference between mother parenting and father parenting. I think mothers want to parent from a safe and a protecting, caring space. I think fathers, the way we parent, we might parent out of risk, fun, memories, adrenaline, etc. But at the same time, you think about them. If you a mother and your son's going, if you over parenting, your son gonna be soft. And if you're a father, and you over parenting, your son death could be on, at the end of that. So the bottom line is parent in the middle.
Balance.
Had that balance. So I mean, I'll start off there.
Well,
A
go
lot of
ahead,
times,
Coach Juan.
that's what the mother and the father should have a balance, right, within the household, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've said this many times. With all due respect, the mothers is most of us raised by a single mom. We love you to death, but you can't be our father. That's no disrespect or diminishing you, right? And no difference. Anything happened to the mother of our children, we can't be their mother either, right? We can just be the best father we can be. So that's the balance that you talked about. I got a quick story talked about when we moved to a different neighborhood, and they had moved up there before me because I was still working and going back and forth. And I was like, where the kids at? Oh, they over such and such house. I'm like, well, they too young to be over there, right? I said, well, who is this person? Oh, they good people. I'm like, hell, we don't know these people. My children are elementary age. One's elementary, maybe one was early middle school. So when I came up there, I made it. I was intentionally saying, hey, I need to go meet this guy. So I went, and the guy doted on his two sons, right? We just sat in his garage, drank a beer, told me, what was going on with his job. He was about to lose his job because they said he took something that was less than $5 or what have you, so on and so forth, right? Okay, cool. So anyway, I would go to the bus stop with my son sometimes if I could do it. He was there at the bus stop one day. We saw, and this is suburban USA, right? Nothing. We wasn't in the hood. We weren't in. It's a decent neighborhood. The police were out there, and we were like, "Man, what's going on?" He said, "I think that somebody tried to snatch something out of a car, and it scared the child, in the back seat. And the lady had went in, left something inside the house, and went back in, and came back out when somebody was trying to steal a purse or something like that, right?" So, man, something inside me, and I don't even talk like this all the time. You got to really, something got to be going on. I try not to talk too much. Something inside me told me to say this. I said, man, you know what? I fucking kill somebody who mess with my children and my wife like that, right?
Uh-huh.
The school bus came, moved on. This same gentleman was on the local news talking about the situation, right? Saying there's a bunch of teenagers running around, blah, 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 boom, boom, right? 3-4 months later, this guy get arrested for robbing a few convenience stores, and he was the person who tried to snatch the lady's purse when she went in the house to get something.
Wait. The same neighbors or whomever.
Yeah.
And then the dude that interviewed talking about the situation.
Yes. Exactly.
Was the perpetrator.
Exactly. So.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So my point is saying all of that. We're talking about starting your home, but it has to be in the community. I'm not sending my children places where I don't know the adults. Why are you sending your child somewhere where you don't know who the adults are? Right?
Good call, sir. Good call.
Yeah. And so I'm going to go there. And I remember I was accused of, hey, you keep talking to these people. They're not interested. You're not missing out on their cues. Hey, listen, if I live in the community, I don't care if you like me or not. Because I'm going to speak to you if I see you. Right? And so one or two things happen. We can have a friendly relationship or not. But if you got bad intentions, you're going to know to stay away from that household. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not running around trying to be the biggest, baddest thing on the corner. I'm trying to be neighborly, right? And so again, sometimes you develop friendships, but as a man, you're protecting your household. As well, over time, I know the kids in the community that can come over to my house and play with my kids. I'm a protector for them as well. But that's just an example about being aware of your surroundings, whether you're in a so-called good neighborhood, bad neighborhood, the city, suburbs, country, or what have you. Just being vigilant, man, and you never know. And plus, that particular person, people do things when they get desperate, right? But he wasn't desperate because he was calm as a cucumber. You know what I mean? So that was what he do. That wasn't a scenario that he was in for perhaps losing his job. But
hey, JG, that instinct that you had, that was what I like to call the universe's alarm system that we all have. And you knew in his presence in that moment, you needed to be alert and alarm and convey that message to him. I'm not sure if you guys know this. I watch all kind of crazy stuff on TV, me and my wife. And I was watching an interview where they went into the prison and they interviewed this gentleman who was one of the most prolific child molesters ever. He had molested hundreds and hundreds of kids. And they was asking him how he decided to molest the individual kid. How did he choose the kids to molest?
Right.
And guess what he said? It was one very simple thing. He said, I looked for the kids that did not have a strong father or man present in their life.
Damn.
That's how I targeted my victims.
Damn.
That's how I targeted my victims. If they had a father around, I'm like, nah, I bet not. He better not go there. And so that speaks to what you're talking about.
I saw that.
When you are, when you said something told me to say, man, if somebody messed with my family, I'd kill. Like you was talking to him. You knew your instinct told you this dude needed to hear that from you.
Right.
And that was the way you just kind of lay the platform and like, hey man, my kids got somebody over here that's gonna protect them.
They off limits.
I don't know what's going on. They off limits. Exactly.
They off limits.
And so for me, I got this little thing. Let me get it right here. Can y'all see that? Can y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
As soon as you walk into my house, that's right there on the floor. And it is my job to make sure that this place remains that. It is my job to make sure don't nobody come in here and disrupt that, from family members to the people that actually live here. Nothing was worse than, you have one of your young sons get a unruly girlfriend and all of a sudden they can disrupt your household. Believe me, you know what I mean? And so it's my job to protect that. And so when you talk about it starting at home, it starts at home, but one of the ways it spreads out into the community is as you raise your kids, or what I tried to do is I tried to help my young men understand that they are global citizens. They're not just citizens of this household. They're not just citizens of this neighborhood, of the street, of this town, of this country. They're global citizens. And they need to see themselves as a piece of a global part. And I think when you have that perspective, you move differently. I remember being in New York City with a cousin of mine, and we walking down the street. It's a main road, cars going up and down the road, and he's eating out of a box. There's a box, and he done bought food at the corner store. And when he finished eating, he literally just threw it on the ground. We walking across the street, he just threw it on the ground and kept walking. Little tissue paper flying out. You know what I mean?
Littering.
Yeah, chicken bones all on the road. Like, what are we doing?
This was in the 80s.
It was, but I was astonished that he would actually do that. I'm like, I wanted to go back and pick it up. But what I saw was the disconnect that he had between himself and his community. And so many times when these things start to fall apart in our community, it's because the people in the community, there's a disconnect. And that disconnect does not allow you to see yourself as a bigger part and how you play a role in this community. And so you ain't got no problem throwing your cigarette butts out, throwing trash out, not picking up something when you see it, because you don't see how you're connected to it. And so I think through travel and seeing the world and exposure and experience, and not everybody can do that. So what? But we can watch TV and be exposed to something new, Absolutely. But for me, that's what it was about, is to start to give them a global perspective and understand, like, you can serve in your community through helping people, nonprofit organizations, donating money. One of the proudest moments I had of my son was when he was in 4th grade, and someone had killed the canine dog, the police dog in the community. And now the people are coming to, a police officer come to the school, talk about, oh, they killed Fluffy or whatever the dog name was. I don't remember. And Darius was in 4th grade. And he literally was like, Dad, they killed the canine. I'm going to donate money. I promise you, he was 9 years old. He donated $600 of his own money
What?
for the police department to get a new dog.
Wow.
And you ain't like dogs ever since. Is that why you can't stand dogs? Save all that money at 9 years
One
old.
reason. Yeah, that was $600 of his own money that he had earned, and he donated for them to buy a new dog. You know what I mean? And in that moment, I knew, okay, he gets it. He's starting to understand. Now, my personal history, and I'm like, a police dog. You know what I mean? A police dog. You know how I feel about the police at the time. I changed a little bit. But I was super proud of him, man. I was super proud of him, and I realized that message that I have been sending. He saw himself as a piece of the community and how he could contribute, and that's what he chose to do.
Hey, can I share a clip real quick, man, that I think could help contribute to this conversation? I think Joaquin had a good segue. This is Brother Nuri Muhammad, who's a up and coming minister in the Nation of Islam, and me and JG actually got a chance to catch him in Baltimore a few weeks, and he was kind of addressing kind of what we're talking about. But check this clip out.
So it is the thought process, and it is our conduct that ultimately will be able to bring about a change in our community. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said in the 60s, when they used to call our communities slums, he said the only reason that our people live in the slums is because slum thoughts live in our people's mind. What is it that the outside reflects the inside? He's saying that when you look at an environment that we live in, that we call a community or a neighborhood or a ghetto, we're looking at nothing more than a physical manifestation of the collective consciousness of the people that share space and time in one location.
That right there, bro. That right there. We got a disease in our communities right now, and so one of the things that you look at, and it parallels the disease in America, right?
Come on.
Because the family is the most basic societal unit, right? And so
Foundational. Yep.
if we keep talking about how we ain't got no village no more, and we done lost the village, and we have less shared values in our community than we used to have, right? We got less street code in the streets, right? Now it's more so where there once was a collective idea about what was acceptable in the home and in the community. Now it's everybody do what you want to do. You got a right to do whatever you want to do. You don't have a responsibility to the community. So the adults in the community that could whip us when our parents weren't around or grab us by the neck when we up the street throwing rocks. Now the parents going up there saying, what you got to do with him throwing rocks?
Right.
Right?
Right. Yes.
Belief. Our shared belief is now that you can do whatever you want to do. Right? So America, and especially under Trump, we see it, is in a moral decline in terms of what's acceptable. Right? So if we're not at home holding on to those age-old morality things that will teach Joaquin, that Joaquin and Tracy can teach Darius compassion, right? That they don't even have to tell him to have a heart for a dog because he's been taught compassion. There's a shared belief in their home that we're compassionate people. We're giving people, right? Joaquin can laugh at Darius giving away $600, but he give away more money than anybody we know. To anybody, just ask, right? So he shared that belief system with his family and in his house. So then when you do that, then you are producing children that go out into the community and share that with the community. And so because we got this immoral that Trump can grab people by the poom and lie, and everybody just lying on TV now. Like the
Oh my God.
it's crazy when you watch it, right? Now lying is okay whenever you want. So our communities are protected because we don't have a fabric that binds it together anymore. So until the men in the community and with the help of our sisters unite and say, look, we got to protect our homes. Me and the boys were just talking this morning about the story. I don't know if y'all saw it on the news. There was a man that saw a domestic violence situation, right? And he intervened between the husband and the wife. The husband murdered him,
Dang.
right? And we was like, yo, I was like, man, I can remember a time in my neighborhood where it was a dude that beat his wife and the men in the neighborhood whipped his ass. Right.
I'm hearing some music. I'm hearing some audio.
Yeah, somebody playing something in the background.
It's loud. Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah. So the men in the community back in the days would handle men that was doing it. Man, you can't be beating on your wife. You can't do this and that. But now you putting your life at risk trying to be a humanitarian in your community. Right?
Yeah.
Because we're not connected anymore. So I'm saying we first protect our homes by having a belief system in our homes that speaks to proper conduct, behavior, and actions in connection to the community that extends. And if all families doing that, then now we got a shared collective belief that's different than what Brother Nuri talked about. So we all protected because we all got one another's back. And now is Brother Williams.
We have some audio issues.
Somebody making a lot of noise. Making a lot of noise.
Oh, it's still y'all still hear a lot of noise?
Yeah.
Yes.
Brother William James, you remember he told us in the newspaper office, this world got you thinking everybody an individual, and then you think it's all just about you and your stuff. And we walked right into what he was saying.
Yep.
Well, you have the right, you can do what you want. You don't have a responsibility. So because we agree with that and don't have responsibility, our homes and our community not safe and protected. You know what I'm saying? And so our belief system got to change. We got to be more moral. We've lost our moral foundation. So now the immorality governs. So there's less protection. There's more crime. There's more of this. There's more of that because we have become an immoral collective people.
So let me ask you a question. If you have someone who having I don't give a blank attitude or situation about ain't nobody done nothing for me, I ain't trying to save no world. I ain't trying to save me. Like how do you think would be a good way to address something like that?
Man, I think that's the biggest problem we got, brother, because until somebody decides to transform themselves and be somebody different, we can't force them. But one of the ways we can do it is as many of us as we can try to model that. And then I think all of our religious places, whether it be the mosque, the church, the synagogue, or whatever, we got to stop that not stepping on your toes teaching that's going on. You know what I mean? People living out of there without their toes stepped on. Somebody got to tell us we trifling, right?
Lead by an example.
Yeah, absolutely. And I give y'all an example. I was at an elementary school presenting. They asked me to come read my book to my children's book to the students, right?
Let's go.
I had to read the fifth graders first, and then third graders, right? When I went in there with the fifth graders, man, them jokers weren't paying attention. The teacher was trying to get them to pay attention and all of that, and wouldn't settle down and all of that. And eventually, I'm gonna get control of the room myself. I'm gonna take over and get control of that, right?
Right.
Fifth graders was all over the place. I went in there with the third graders, brother. Oh, will you help me write a book? Hey, oh my God, what did the character do? So engaged, so involved, so extremely absorbing the information, right? And it reminded me of what Waukee said when you ask the third grader what they want to be versus the 15-year-old. So my point is, they're not corrupted yet, bro. They're not getting corrupted till they get to about the 6th grade, 5th or 6th grade. So my point is almost like Moses with the children of Israel when God was like, you know what? Let the old people wander in the wilderness and die off, and let's go build and inhabit the promised land. We got to get this down to the place where we got these budding young babies who we still got a chance to change. Because too many of us adults, until we hit rock bottom or something else big happens in our life, we're not going to be apt to change because we are just so far gone, in my opinion. This is one of the biggest crises that we have.
Hey, before we get too far, get a title of the book and where they can find it at for the viewers that's interested.
Absolutely. They can find the book on Amazon.com. It's called The Adventures of Crystal and Her Crystals. Amazon.com by Corey E. Carter. Appreciate that plug, brother.
Hey man,
No doubt.
yeah, good plug. One of the things that has really happened in our community is that when you look back and you think about the civil rights community and the civil rights movement and what was happening, one of the reasons that worked is because we as a people still maintain the moral high ground.
Mm-hmm.
And because we maintain the moral high ground, when people then saw the dogs and the water hoses, they had a level of compassion for our people. And that then precipitated the change in the country. But over the years, when you start getting caught up with materialism and the bling bling and the labels and brands, and you lose your moral fiber and you start valuing the wrong stuff, now when things happen to our people, the people as a whole don't have that compassion for us because we have lost the moral high ground by the way we behave. We got to take some responsibility in that.
That's a fact.
And that's what has happened over time. So now when they want to strip away your voting rights and strip away fair housing and strip away the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, they scrap all that. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it. Who cares about what happened to you people? Look how you act in the streets. And that's a narrative that's perpetrated by the media, and that's fed upon by the media, but that's what happens. And so we absolutely must take control of that moral high ground that you're talking about if we want to continue to prosper and move forward in the community as a whole, as a people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's my 2 cents.
What you described was, as the minister said, social engineering. I'm sorry, what you said, brother Cora?
I said that was more than 2 cents, brother.
Oh,
that was his 2 cents. I would say that was more than 2 cents. I mean, the fact of the matter is, man, like, again, now we got to have a debate whether or not young men should be able to, we ran the clip this week when Talik was talking about the sagging your pants. We having a debate over stuff and whether it's correct and moral or not that we would have never discussed. Was it okay to do? Like, everything is okay now.
That's a fact.
No matter what it is, because you got an individual right, and this is America. You know what? All of these Negroes still walking around talking about this is America. You've never been an American.
Come on, brother.
It was never intended for you. So don't use that as your frame of reference for some rights that you now found out was just a shared agreement of how to implement a so-called America. And now the shared agreement is being torn up. And so we still walking around in our homes. The children are running the homes. The parents, like I said last week, hey, this is the age of the lack of accountability.
That's a fact.
Child ain't do nothing. Them people up at that school better get that right. They don't want me to come up there. And your child wrong as hell.
Right.
We got him on camera. And you still making excuses, right? Yeah. And so, you got a situation in states, urban states all across the country where you can't suspend the children from school no more. Because they don't want the streets causing problems, right? So now school is a glorified juvenile detention center with a few kids that's trying to learn. Ain't no accountability. You can do whatever you want to do, and it's like I said back in the days, man. You can't come in the neighborhood or on our street and do that. You know what I'm saying? And then what we protecting our streets over now? Man, this is our block. You can't get money over here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get the bag.
We screaming Free Willie, and Willie done got a rape and 2 murders, attempted murders in the kid. No, put Willie in jail.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So we just morally corrupted, man, and you know, and I don't even know. Only God's grace gonna save us, because Trump's machine and what they're taking away with, like Joaquin said, the voting rights and other rights, and is bigger than the voting rights. Is they moving that money? You know what I'm saying? Black women have been, listen, 3 out of 4 black households are led by a woman, right? We talked about that, right? Guess how many black women is the #1 victim of the Doge or Elon Musk cuts, taking hundreds of thousands of dollars out of black households, right?
Wow.
So now you broke. Now how you gonna get out of it when you broke? Now you preying on one another even more. You know what I'm saying? So because we haven't developed an economic program in our community, and we can't get people jobs, and like I said, we all out here just playing survival, and now it ain't no I love my neighbors myself is, man, that nigga getting his, I gotta get mine. I mean, we just at each other's throats, man. It's gone. You know, I'm very concerned about the immorality in our homes that spills out into our communities.
Yeah, you better believe I got a sweet tooth, but ain't nothing sweet. I know you spend all your money to treat. I'm about to spend this little money on trees. Was on a diet, but I gotta cheat. Jumped off the porch, now I'm on 2nd Street. Tamika, my twin, she rolling that dough, and I think about counting that dough in my sleep. What's up, TJ? Before y'all run, I don't wanna be late. I need a little something, I hit this way, and I need it now, I don't need a delay. Peanut butter like my snack, like my woman. Denzel Washington, I'm leaving with sun. Chocolate chip, baby, you know how I'm coming. Banana pudding, no, we got it jumping, yeah. Yeah, I got butterific, I'm feeling terrific. Serving them cookies is not just a gimmick. They pulling them now cause they love to mimic, yeah. I need a pack, I need a sack, I need a stack, I need a rack. Man, I need everything in a bag down.
You better believe it.
Ay, butterific, yeah, butterific, butterific.
Man, you know, one of the things that I think about from time to time, and these works and all that was important, but you know, you guys are familiar with it. When Dr. King said, "My only fear is that I'm integrating my people into a burning building."
Yeah,
you know, that is a real thing. And when you talk about us not having the economic basis that we need to have, and all of that stuff, and you know, I always say, man, you know, Kanye West was a wealthy individual, but somebody we don't even know made some decisions, and all of a sudden his status of a billionaire went away. Who did that?
Yeah.
Somebody did that. Somebody made a call, made some changes, and all of a sudden he ain't a billionaire no more. And so if all that you work for can be stripped away like that, just because of somebody we don't even know make that decision, you know, we really got to think about what we standing on. Ain't none of us had a financial security that we want. You know what I mean? None of us have that. But it's absolutely crucial in order for you to feel like you empowered and you have a voice to some degree, so you can start laying the foundation for your family and setting the standards. One of the things, man, I give my father-in-law so much credit for, Plu, Mr. J, my wife's dad, is that, man, that man, when I came into his life, what I saw was a man of principle that stood on principle, a man of standards and a value system that he had established, and how to actually implement that into his family. And what I saw was a man that held people accountable. You know, that word you talked about earlier, accountability, that's what's missing. Folks ain't being held accountable. And in order to implement a value system, have a value system, then implement that value system, there has to be some accountability behind it.
Absolutely right.
Well, somebody is holding folks accountable. And like you said, it ain't no accountability. I watch all kind of crazy stuff on TV. I watch some prison shows on TV, and I always say the two things that they miss. It ain't nothing ever they fault. No accountability whatsoever. You know, no accountability, no responsibility, you know, and the level of entitlement that come behind that. Entitlement and lack of accountability, and you have a recipe for disaster.
And in order to have a level of accountability and you enforcing that accountability, that you need to be on the right track yourself. Because if you ain't on the right track, it's not gonna match up, you know, because everybody gonna be looking like what you doing.
What you know, Chill. What I talk about when I had this conversation with some young men who are fathers and they're trying to figure out how to get it right. And I always tell them, man, it's two kinds of authority. It's authority by title. I'm your dad. You do what I tell you. And then there's moral authority. You watch me and the life that I live, and you can use my life as an example of how to live. When you maintain your moral authority, you continue to have influence. If you lose your moral authority, your influence will go out the window. Your influence, and so we got to start understanding how we behave. So the people who are in position to hold people accountable need to be very mindful of how they living and how they moving, because everybody's watching you. And if you ain't living right, you can't tell them nothing. So a lot of times we lose our young people because the adults in the household then lost all moral authority, and the young people ain't following them. They might as well go out here and join a gang and do whatever they're gonna do because they respect the gang leader. They do what he say. They do what he say. You know, so we losing our moral authority because we on some bullshit as adults.
Talk about it.
Piggybacking on what you just said, well, all right. They call it the power of the circle, right? Young men, we seek out crews, cliques, and whatnot for protection and belonging. How do we model healthy, positive male circle at home so our sons don't go looking for validation in the wrong spots, in the streets, or what have you?
Well, I mean, for me, it's just like what I was just saying. You gotta establish a standard and a value system, and then the way you implement it is through holding people accountable to that. But you're not gonna be successful if people look at the people in your household looking at your life and like, man, dad on some bullshit. He come in here talking all that stuff, and he was drunk, and mom was looking for him 2 nights ago. Mama couldn't find him.
Yeah, on the drunk part, guys.
He wishy-washy.
Yeah, he ain't going to work. He ain't making no money. Mom doing everything around here, and now you trying to tell the young fella what to do. They don't want to hear that stuff from you.
Hey, man, I got 2 stories, man. One is, I mean, it's not the first one's not a story, but I used to listen, man, children are a blank canvas. And you can teach them whatever you want to teach them. Teachers do it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Right? We teach every day, and the children learning to write essays and do complicated math problems. I'm talking about elementary school age and presenting information and creating stuff, right? If you, like I used to tell my son, so this is what made me think about, John, when you asked a question about in the house. I used to say, you got to be back to this thing about the other topic we had about being intentional, right? This is what I was intentional about. I say, look, man, when we got together, like it would be me and my brothers and the family there or people there, I said, you see all of these people just sitting here having a good time and ain't no problem. It ain't no arguing and ain't no fighting. I said, this how people supposed to get together. And just leave it alone.
Right.
And then they see more events every time every time that people get together, they looking to see, right? But everything keeps being a great time.
Beautiful.
Right?
Beautiful.
Right? So I've told them, I framed their mind about what a good time is.
Yes,
right? The other story I would say is because the influence of the minister, I always said this. Hey man, always remember to take care of your people. Always remember to take care of your people. I said it so much that I forgot I said it. Right? And now all of us, we the type of brothers, if my kids see me moving, go see me buying a player on the team some cleats. Go see, you understand? They need some cleats, or see me being charitable or giving my time or just talking about somebody like, hey, I'm gonna go help him, right? I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna go do that. And it came full circle for me, and I know it works because when Amir graduated from Salisbury, he was the graduation speaker for this multicultural group that they had. And he told a story, he titled the speech, Take Care of Your People. Right. Because he said when he went to college, he was looking for a community, and he told one of the dudes he met early on, man, we just gotta take care of each other. And that became his theme and his lens. And even to this day, on one of his social media accounts, the subtitle is Take Care of Your People. So you gotta teach that, man. To develop the lens, you gotta do like the doctor and put the medicine in the lens. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
if we busy playing tunk and gambling and talking shit in the house,
He
and
said tunk, not tunk.
More behavior, then that's what you teaching. If you teaching, if they hearing you saying that nigga ain't that nigga, then that's what you teaching. So it starts with the right teaching in the home to shape the lens of these young people, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so critical.
That's Chubb, so dope you said that.
Oh, I want to add to that little piece that Chubb just talked about, that Brother Corey talked about, because when you talk about taking care of your people, the other thing we also learn from the minister and his teachings is you got to love your people more than they hate themselves.
And more than, and more than they hate you.
Because that's the energy that you're going to have to bring to taking care of your people, because they make it so hard to do sometimes. They make it so hard to do sometimes. You gotta love your people more than they hate themselves, and because that's what's gonna fuel you. That's what's gonna give you the energy. What you're talking about is a why, but behind that why got to be some energy.
Yeah,
and you got to keep that in mind. I find myself repeating that to my son.
Yeah,
constantly, over and over and over, because he can't understand why you're not getting the results from helping people that you want to see. And you got to know you may not get the results sometimes, man. And let me just say this: sometimes help looks different. You can help one young man, and he go off to college and he get a master's degree, and he making good money and take care of himself and married and having a family, and you helped that man, and that's what he did with your help. Another fellow, he stayed out of prison. He taking care of his daughter as best he can, and he working at Chick-fil-A, and he just hanging on. But guess what? He's not doing 65 years in prison. To me, you helping them both. Don't think you didn't help this guy because he did not go on to have great, what you would deem great success. This man is raising his family. He working at Chick-fil-A or wherever he working, and he's not doing 65 years in prison. That's a hell of a success story sometimes when you consider the circumstances under which you had to operate in to get him to that point.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. But sometimes people look at it like, you spend all this time over here, and this is a waste of time. No, it ain't a waste of time.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking when the Weibo has spoke about demonstrating to his children what a good time looked like. And I remember when my family came up up the DMV area, man, and you know, the wives hung out, and then you know, we kicked it as the fellas, and then our sons went out. And I was just telling, you know, like, you know, it's a different city. You know, my son ain't never been out in the DMV area like that, and you know, he was going out with your boys, and I was like, you know, my wife was like, where he going? Where he at? And I was like, nah, he good. Like, you know, because guess what? I know the company he gonna be around, you know, and so that just speaks to you as a person, how you raise your son. Because hey, you know, in different situations, based on, you know, who the person, you be like, hey, even if they family, you be like, nah, you ain't going out with him.
Yeah.
Because I said so.
But yeah, I mean,
if you raise them right, they got love. If you raise them right, they got love for who you got love for.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Man. And they had an amazing time, man. You know, so kudos,
Good
bro.
stuff, bro.
I was just gonna say it as far as fathers, especially looking at us, right? I mean, I of course I did have my father and a stepfather and all. However, it was something still that I was missing, and I had to find. And as we speak about the minister, that was my role model. That was my example that I wanted to pattern myself after. So I believe we as fathers and or men have to find that, whether it's your local minister, whether it's just someone upstanding that you feel you can try to pattern yourself after. I mean, my wife's the pastor of her church, a good pastor. You know what I mean? Wow, Reverend Only back in the day when we was coming up.
Yeah.
You know, just finding decent men in the community or wherever you have to find them to help you pattern yourself after to then establish those values, those morals, those principles within your family. And then as we talked about and discussed, they then take that out to the community and try to each one teach one, basically, as we've been taught or heard, you know what I'm saying, as a cliche of each one teach one the proper, it has to be the proper information, the proper example and all. And as I said in the previous episode too, at the root of this family, we pray. We absolutely pray. And I believe that gets us through all of what we set out in any. I just feel we're so blessed that whatever trial or struggle we go through is covered in the prayer, and we're as the scripture says, we're not placed on. God doesn't place anything on us beyond our scope or beyond what we're able to handle. You know, and so I think with with our constant prayer as a family, especially my wife and I, daily and throughout the day, just making sure we do that to sustain us and keep us in that mode, you know, it's priceless. You know what I mean? I just can't say enough with regards to that importance. And then again, reminding our children, though, again, as they get older, I say, hey, well, look, do you pray regularly? Do you communicate with God to ask and look for that guidance and all of that you need as to why you're struggling? And then especially that refuge prayer, Brother Corey. You know, refuge.
And I've said to mine before, after I say that, do you pray? I was like, listen, don't get in a position for something to happen to you for you to have to learn a lesson on why you need to do it. Because it can happen.
Right.
Ain't nobody gonna be asking you to pray with you. Everybody drop to their knees when that certain thing go down. And this is what I was gonna say. There's a play y'all back in high school we had to read. Y'all, I don't even know if y'all. I don't know if y'all read it.
I can promise you, I ain't read it.
You talking to the wrong group. I thought you knew your friends.
It's called The Crucible. Y'all heard of The Crucible?
The Crucible.
I remember when Miss Hunter assigned that to us.
He did not do the work.
And I had to look on your paper to get the answers. That's what you gonna say, why?
It's about the Salem witch trials, right? and they were accusing all these people of being devil worshipers and all that. But I'm making this one point. The main character ends up, they keep talking about God, and he just says, God is dead. Based on how these hypocrites was calling him out. And that's the thing about what James just said. We got to pray, but man, God is dead to so many people right now. Like, and my point is, I don't care what the religion, I really don't care what the religion is, but you got to believe in something. You got to believe in something. That's how this universe is set up. I don't care if you say, I don't care what you call it. You have to have a philosophy of beliefs, and you got to believe in something that's for the goodwill of yourself and others. That's about something goodness. I don't care. You can call it righteousness, being on the dean, the Holy Ghost. I don't care. Got to be something that brings out the best in humans that you believe in. And if you don't, then you're believing in nothing. Right? And people that believe in nothing are governed by ego, right? And ego make us do the most wicked things to one another and imbalance our life in such a way that we not even forget protecting the home of the community. We not even protecting the own life that the Creator gave us. And you know, and so faith is a problem. Mentors is a problem. All of this stuff. That's why I keep saying, man, we have a crisis.
Man, we really do.
We have a crisis.
If we don't approach it with that type of mindset and urgency, bro, it's you know, and this is the prime time and season for us. I mean, there was another time as well. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but George Floyd. That whole situation was a moment that helped us to kind of realize, look, if at any time there was that for us to have to unite in some sense or around something, that was one big, you know, huge event nationally anyway. But now with this president administration, bro, and him just as you had talked about earlier, and him just taking things back, and what you say, Jim Crow 2.0, Brother Corey, or something like that, bro. Yeah. If we're not careful and we don't do like the Jews do when they remind the world saying about the Holocaust never again, absolutely slavery can come, and it's in effect now through the prison piece. That's why I mentioned I'm not sure if it was off taping. Yes. And so it can, and if we're not vigilant and speaking out, and as you said, treating this thing like a crisis and trying to reach our community and unite, or you know, among the common piece. When you mentioned that whole religion piece, Brother Corey, Minister Louis Farrakhan said, Elijah Muhammad told him when Elijah Muhammad asked him, brother, do you know what the best religion? What is the best religion? I'm paraphrasing because I heard it on the Final Call radio the other day, and he said, well, you know, the minister was just thinking, you know, automatically. Well,
Christianity.
You know, he was thinking his thing. The minister's response was thinking, well, you know, Islam, right? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, well, brother, and we've heard this: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That simple principle, he said, was the best religion that there is.
Confucianism.
Oh, that's what Confucianism is, bro.
That's when it was first said.
That's the quote.
That's answer one of my questions I was going to ask, man. So just a few things, man. From what Corey was saying, you heard this quote before: think globally, act locally, right? Because it is a huge thing, and like you say, we can just do our part, right? We can't save the world individually, but collectively, we can do a whole lot together. I'm thinking about the cocoonization of America. Is a term that we talked about in real estate years ago with all the technology. You know, I grew up with one TV in the house.
Cocoonization. What you say?
Cocoon.
Oh, cocoon. I thought you said the coonization. Then had the coonization. Yeah, we got a coonization going on too.
Hey, look, I grew up in the country. We had no air conditioning, 1 TV, 3 channels. Now everybody got AC. Everybody got a TV in their room, video game, 300 channels. No one's getting together inside the house. So how the hell is that supposed to happen outside the house, right?
Wow, right.
And so we don't keep that. Yeah,
Ain't
none
nobody
of that. So
table no more.
say again.
I said, ain't nobody eating at the kitchen table no more. You know,
Exactly. Having Sunday dinners together, as a husband and wife with the children. That was one of the questions we was going to leave out on. It take a village, but like Corey said, to say the village is broken, right? So what action? What does being a active, visible male figure look like in your specific block outside your own front door? What is something that we can do? One of the things that I talked about when I opened up the show was about the man got hemmed up, right? They're locked up. Now, I still was nice to his children. I made sure his children were safe. I didn't know the wife like that, so I wasn't over the house. But once I was in the park, I was in a local park with my kids. I got to know who my kids hung out with. I started coaching. So I would go out to the park and then run into guys that I coached. And I wasn't trying to be everybody's best buddy or the cool dad. However, they showed me love and respect and they knew how to act accordingly when I was there. Now, when I walked away, they might have wilded out, but they showed love and respect. So little stuff like that. What other tidbit you got? What can we leave with guys that a quick word of advice?
I got one, John, and you modeled it well, because like you always say, man, I'm going to find out. You always say, I'm gonna find out who the next door neighbor is. I'm gonna go walk over there. You always talk about that. You gonna start a conversation. You sort of, people don't know that you surveying their psychology and all that when you talking to them. You reading the threat level. But back to the minister, they lifting them up. His birthday was this week, 93 years old. With the help of
Happy birthday.
But he said, you can't call yourself a father if you don't show concern for the things going on in the community that your child got to live in.
Good gosh.
Right?
That's right.
You can't call yourself a father and they got stuff going on down at the park and they smoking weed all night and the kids can't play, and you don't go find a way to help get involved with that. Or you don't go find a way to stop things going on in the neighborhood where your children have to grow, because that's the garden in which they're growing. And you don't go down to the school board meeting, or you don't go down to the school. You can't be detached from your community and say, well, we got a house in this community and that's it. We got to get involved. And so if there's no involvement, then we part of what's going on with the problems with it.
Well, what if one say, hey, I'm doing my part, raising my son and uplifting him as a good citizen? Like, that's what I was told to do. Now, that's what I was told to do. Now it sounds like y'all bashing me.
No, all I'm saying is that good son you raised, that good son that you raised, might go down and get bust in the head on the block if you don't go help clean the block up.
Got you. All right. I just wanted to be clear.
We got to do both. And one of the things that we can't get discouraged from is we can't save the world, but we can save a world. I can't save all of the world, but I can save your world. I can save your world. I can save his world. And that's what's got to keep us going. You know, we can't save the world, but we can save a world. Huh?
That's what we call a generational handoff, right? This is the neighborhood and community we leave it to our kids, right? Not just the house, not just that. It's the neighborhood and the community as well that we leave it. How are we going to leave it? We're going to leave it well tended to or ill kept.
Man, you know, one of the things you talk about getting involved, Chubb. One of the organizations that I had the privilege of being the chairman of the board was an organization called AHIP, Almar Home Improvement Program, and what that program did was go into people's homes who are on fixed incomes, and it would repair their homes. These homes that they've been living in 30, 40, 50 years, that's decaying around them, the roof leaking, AC going out, hot water heater not work, all that stuff. We would go in and fix up people's homes. And one of the reasons I joined that organization was because of this very thing that we're talking about. when people sell their homes to the institutional investors for pennies on the dollar, you're not just losing a house, you're losing the community, the institutional knowledge within that community, the Miss Johnsons of the world, the Miss Andersons of the world, you know what I mean? The Mr. Gohanners of the world, all of these things you are preserving. And so I like to think of it as preserving the roots of the community. That's what we're trying to do. And so that's an example of how you can get involved. To keep it close at home. Hey man, be at home if you can at 6:30 so you can have dinner at the table. You know what I mean? Spend some time together. My brother said 1,000 times, and I love to repeat it. Whoever has your ear has your destiny. You got to start implementing these things within your home so that people can, so that you can become a part of the community. Bro, you got to go to the parent-teacher conference. Child, how many people don't show up for the parent-teacher conference?
Only the kids' parents that got good grades. It's never the parents that the teachers want to see. They be like, we don't even need you to be here. You know what I'm saying? I tell you where we at. So we got a big line at the newest food truck that come in town. We got a big line at the mall when the new J's drop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I would say try to have dinner with your children. Try to go to the school parent-teacher meeting. You know, be involved, know what's going on, and be as active as you possibly can. And it ain't just about, well, you know, I'm raising my little son or my little daughter. Nah, guess what? We have a responsibility to the collective, and we need to go into it with that mindset.
Yeah, I think a couple tidbits I wrote down. I think we need to just model compassionate service, right? Obviously, it all, like we say, start at home, start in the community as well. When you step outside, have dinner as a family, but hey, invite that cool neighbor over once in a while too to have dinner, right? You ain't got to throw a big shindig or cookout, but that kindness will carry over to the next thing. Obviously, take personal responsibility and foster that belonging and connection amongst the kids in the community, whether through the community, through church, whatever it is that we do. I know a lot of us coach sports and love sports, and that was our ministry, that was our vehicle of getting out to the community. You got something, Chill? Oh,
nah, I think y'all covered it.
Excellent conversation. Protect the homes, protect our neighborhoods and our communities. Please, if you like, hit the subscribe button. Come check us out. Joaquin, what you want to take us out with?
In the words of the great Frederick Douglass, it is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men. Peace.